Frustration is the psychological tension that appears when reality repeatedly refuses to match what we expect, need, or believe should happen. It often begins with an obstacle, delay, rejection, limitation, or lack of control. But beneath the immediate irritation lies a deeper conflict between expectation and reality. The mind creates an internal prediction about how something should unfold, and when circumstances violate that prediction, psychological resistance emerges. A person may become frustrated when effort produces little progress, when others behave unpredictably, when plans are interrupted, or when personal needs remain unmet. The intensity of frustration is not always proportional to the event itself. A small inconvenience can produce an enormous reaction when it touches a deeper vulnerability involving control, competence, fairness, recognition, or someone who strongly identifies with being capable may experience a simple mistake as a threat to identity. Someone who needs certainty may experience an unexpected change as psychological chaos. Someone who feels chronically unheard may react intensely to a minor disagreement because it activates a much older pattern of feeling ignored. Frustration, therefore, often contains information about what a person expects from themselves, other people, and life. It reveals where reality is colliding with internal demands. The emotion itself is not necessarily destructive. Frustration can signal that something needs to change, that a boundary has been crossed, that an expectation is unrealistic, or that continued effort requires a different strategy. The problem begins when frustration becomes chronic and is expressed through aggression, resentment, withdrawal, impulsive decisions, or constant blame. The deeper psychology of frustration involves the human desire for agency. People generally tolerate difficulty better when they believe their actions can influence the outcome. When effort repeatedly fails to produce results, frustration can gradually become helplessness. The person may begin believing that nothing they do matters, or they may respond by trying to control everything around them. Both reactions can emerge from the same underlying experience: the loss of perceived influence. Frustration can also intensify when emotions are suppressed rather than processed. A person who cannot safely express disappointment may accumulate tension until insignificant events trigger disproportionate reactions. This is why understanding the emotion beneath frustration can be more useful than simply trying to suppress the irritation. Sometimes frustration is covering fear, exhaustion, disappointment, insecurity, or grief. Psychological maturity involves learning to pause between the emotional reaction and the behavioral response. Not every obstacle requires anger. Not every delay represents disrespect, and not every disagreement means that someone is undermining you. Developing tolerance for imperfection and uncertainty allows frustration to move through the mind without immediately becoming destructive behavior. This does not mean accepting everything passively. Healthy frustration can motivate problem solving, boundary setting, adaptation, and persistence. The goal is to transform emotional resistance into useful information. When a situation cannot be changed, acceptance may be necessary. When something can be changed, purposeful action may be appropriate. When expectations are unrealistic, they may need to be adjusted. The deepest form of emotional strength is not never becoming frustrated. It is learning to recognize what the frustration is revealing before it controls your behavior. Reality will constantly violate expectations because uncertainty, limitation, and imperfection are unavoidable parts of life. Peace develops not when everything finally behaves according to your plans, but when you become flexible enough to respond intelligently when it does not.